Hello, and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. Now, let's get into our recap of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 6, Nashville Hold'em. Okay, so Britt Edie starts off the episode being as ratchet and raunchy as people think she is, but she's trying very hard to cover up the fact. Okay, she was at the car lot with her husband, and they were looking at cars, and she mentioned that he said that he would purchase her a new car every 2 years. So there is just something about this relationship that is giving a fake and a fraud relationship. But we'll get more into that at the end of my commentary. Hey, Paula, thank you so much for being here. And Drew, still lying, talking about she was related to Michael Jordan. And let me just say this about Drew. I really like what Drew is bringing to the table this season. And we're going to talk a lot about Drew because Drew is actually doing what a lot of people can't do on this show. Hey, Kiwan, thank you so much for being here. Now, as you all know, I still don't see it for Angela. She is still coming off as a very messy, mean girl, and she likes to play both sides. Okay. Um, she's doing what, put it this way, Drew is doing what she's trying to do effortlessly. Okay. Hey, Sharon Gottball, thank you so much for being here. Like, how are you going to invite my enemy to my birthday party? Isn't this supposed to be about me? Like, I'm not feeling this whole thing, this messiness that Angela is bringing to the show. It's all right to show, messy, shade or whatever the case may be. But the way that Angela is doing it, it's just not giving. But the way that Drew is doing it, like Drew is doing the damn thing. And I'm just gonna say that. So when Drew and Britt, they had their meetup at the bar, that was my favorite scene in this whole episode. Okay. When Drew said to Britt Edie, and this is what she said. Let me just go ahead and show you what she said so maybe that it'll make sense. She says, "Did you ever sell it?" And Britt was like, "What?" And Drew said, "The cat." Now, Drew is corny as hell, okay? But Drew is so funny to me. When I tell you, I laughed so hard when Drew made that statement because Drew gets the information that she wants because everybody wants to know if Britt was a P star. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, this is the question that everybody wants to know, but Drew said it in a way that it wasn't offensive. She struggled a little bit. She was sucking up that water, but she asked the question that everybody wanted to know. Okay. Because, the word on the curve is that this is a type of lifestyle that at some point Britt was living. Okay. There have been a lot of things that's been said about Britt Edie out there, and at this time, everybody is trying to get to the bottom of Britt and her past. And Key1 says, "I love Drew." Drew is still a liar now, but the way that she lies, it is so hilarious because when they called her out about lying about being related to Michael Jordan, she's like, "Y'all know I was playing," so she comes off as so corny that is cute because she's so harmless. She's really not messy, but she's there to do her job. And the other thing that I love about Drew is that she's doing exactly what she is supposed to be doing on this reality TV show. Drew is getting to her acting bag, she's getting to her music bag. And low key, that's why Portia's so mad because Portia can't seem to figure out how to market her brands. Like, even though she has started her YouTube channel, she very rarely talks about Pampered by Portia, her sheet line, and her Go Naked hair. So Drew is really shining out here. She just dropped a great album, her and Shamia both, but Drew is really in the spotlight now because of this album that she just dropped. Okay. And then Drew, sometimes she plays entirely too much. When Drew said, that she was talking about when Britt called her out and said, well, you said that you recognize, how do I say this? The peen that was in the picture that Kenya exposed. And and she played that off. And she was just like, well, I just said that it looked familiar or whatever the case may be. So Drew always has a comeback to cover up her lies, okay? And Kiwan said she was so beautiful in this scene. Oh my God. That scene and in the confessionals, when she was looking, I ain't gonna say like Beyonce, but her hair was a lot blonder, and everybody was saying that she was giving Beyonce. She looked absolutely amazing in that as well. Now, Ralph, on the other hand, every time I see Ralph, I just think Martell Ho because ah, like, why would he want to unseal the documents? Like, her kids are getting older, and obviously they're old enough to go on social media. And Drew is really trying to prevent all of her personal business from being out there for everybody to see. So that was a very authentic scene when, I think she told Ralph that he was dumb for what he did or whatever. So she was being very authentic in that moment. And hopefully, they'll figure all of that out because Drew says that he actually did love his wife and he just wants everything to be open and honest. And Kiwan said Ralph is definitely Martell Jr. Exactly. It's just like he's taking, lines out of Martell's book or whatever to figure out how to handle this situation with Drew. And it's going to come back to bite him because it's not going to play out the way that he thinks it is. And let me go ahead and take this off the screen. But again, Drew has really stepped up her game and she is not holding back with these ladies, okay? Like she used to be like a pushover, but Drew is not that girl anymore. She has embraced the role of why she's on this reality TV show, and she really, at this point, gives zero F's, okay? And the thing with Drew is she's an actor, okay? So sometimes you don't know if you're getting the actor Drew or the authentic Drew because that's the thing when you date an actor. I would never date an actor because, sometimes they're acting and then sometimes they're being their real true self. And, like I said, in my opinion, Portia is jealous that Drew is doing exactly what you are supposed to do when you are on reality TV, which is level up. And that's exactly what Drew is doing. And Kiwan said, and Drew don't have to be loud about her embrace. Exactly, like everything just goes over so smoothly with Drew. When Angela tries to do the same exact thing that Drew is doing, it just doesn't come off right. She comes off as a mean girl. She comes off as she's sticking her nose in where it don't belong. and people tend not to like her. Like she's making a lot of enemies. First, she came after Shamia. That didn't go over well. So, and she seen that Shamia was not backing down. So she decided to smooth things over. So then she came after Britt. Okay. So now that the same thing that she tried to expose about Britt has come out about Angela, now she has to move on from that because, baby, I don't know what made you think that they weren't going to pull up your dirt the same way they did Britt. And Kiwan said, and Drew don't have to be loud. Okay, I think I read that. And Kiwan said, Portia is a low vibrational hater. Okay, absolutely. So when it comes to Drew and Portia, I definitely think that there is a lot of tension there. And honestly, the fact that Drew is doing everything that she's supposed to do, she's getting in her, music bag, her acting bag, and she's bringing Portia's baby daddy along for the ride. Like, Portia is really feeling some kind of way about that. And I thought it was very, very messy for Angela to, invite Drew to the show because as we seen what's going to happen in the next episode, Portia's going to be coming for Drew. Drew's going to get pissed off and she's going to leave. Like, why invite this girl there just for her to get caught up in the crossfire and have to leave? So I think that was very, very messy of Angela to do that. So she's really burning bridges with a lot of ladies on this show. So ultimately, she ain't gonna have nobody to hang out with after, she keeps, making beefs with all of the ladies on the show. I think Angela needs to tone it down a little bit because I'm just not liking the energy that she's bringing. And everybody is getting ready to pull up her dirt, and maybe that's what needs to be done just for her to kind of step back and just kind of read the room. You know, Even though I didn't like what Britt did at the peace brunch, she's absolutely right. Like, Angela needs to read the room. Like, how do you feel like it's your place to invite somebody that I didn't want at my birthday party? I really felt like that was crossing the line, and I truly believe that Portia has heard something about Angela's husband, but she's choosing not to really bring that out. Now, this episode didn't really give a whole lot, just because it's leading up to Portia's birthday party, which I think is going to be lit and it's going to be a great episode next week. So this episode was just kind of leading up to that. So this episode really didn't give a lot. Um, but one of my viewers, we were having a conversation in the chat because you guys know I tell y'all I love to chat with you guys in the chat. So we had an ongoing conversation about Britt Edie's husband. And you guys know that I've always said that he looks a little suspect to me, right? So this is what me and one of my viewers was talking about in the chat. So um it didn't last, it didn't take too long for Britt Edie's husband to be exposed. And guys, just because I said I would, I didn't really plan on talking about this today, but because we were having the conversation in the chat, I'm going to bring this. And I first initially heard about it. Where I initially heard about it, I know Lakeisha Keisha is talking about it, but Tasha K is the one who initially put it out there about Britt Edie's husband. So let me just go ahead and share that with you guys. Now, there's a couple of different clips, so we will quickly try to get through them before we move on. And this is the first one. And let me just make sure my volume is turned up just because I'm sharing. Okay, let me go back out and come back in because the volume, for whatever reason, oops. No, we went to the wrong place. Come on, volume.
Parties, like, I mean, is there condoms being used?
So
Is there a lot of
there's
going on?
so what I do is I run the door, and if I
Okay.
see something I like, I might, engage, but I want to make sure I got my money. I hire runners for the night to make sure that, things are clean, condoms are picked up off the floor. There's, liquor, of course. I don't allow any drugs, no diddy, extracurricular activities, but liquor is okay. There's condom, there's lube, the bathroom is fully stocked. You come in, you dress down, I give you a bag, you can pay $5 extra to, wear your underwear. Most people don't want to pay the extra $5 to wear their underwear. So they're butt ass naked, walking around, doing what they do. In ski masks, unmasked.
That's very risky.
It is.
So, guys, if you don't know what they're talking about, this is an ex-friend of Britt Edie, and he has, parties for men that are on the DL, and he's talking about his parties and what they do at the parties. And then later on, he's going to show receipts where Britt's husband sent him the funds to pay to get into the party.
It's reality.
One day.
This is crazy, man. This is crazy.
You was going back and forth.
Christiana's sister.
Okay, so let me go out and go to the next one. Give me 1 second. I hate when that happens. Okay, this is the part 2.
What type of things be going on at these parties? Like, I mean, is there condoms being used?
So
is there a lot of going on?
So what I do is I run the door, and if I see something I like, I might, engage, but I want to make sure I got my money. I hire runners for the night to make sure that, things are clean, condoms are picked up off the floor. There's, liquor, of course. I don't allow any drugs, no diddy, extracurricular activities, but liquor is okay. There's condom, there's lube, the bathroom is fully stocked. You come in, you dress down, I give you a bag, you can pay $5 extra to, wear your underwear. Most people don't want to pay the extra $5 to wear their underwear. So they're butt ass naked, walking around, doing what they do. In ski masks, unmasked.
That's very risky.
It is.
You was going back and forth with her in the comments talking about, don't act like I didn't have your man bent over a balcony.
This is the
Did
third
you
part.
have Britt Edie's husband, Michael Cunningham?
I may have tasted him.
Tasted him? What do you mean tasted him? Like, what do you elaborate?
Well, I'm a soft top. I don't play with my booty hole at all. I do the playing with the booty hole. I do the bending. And
I know, guys, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You saying you bent her husband over?
I think multiple people bent her husband over.
Oh my God.
This young man said that multiple men have bent Britt Edie over.
Hey, Shaq, call the lawyer because it's gonna go down. And we got this video is going out. I don't give a fuck what they say. It's going down. It's going out. We got a man here on the show with receipts from this lady's husband, and he said he bent her husband over the balcony a few times.
Mm-hmm. Multiple people have bent her husband over. And I feel like she shouldn't have come for me, knowing that I know these things about her and her husband. Like I told her in the comments, I told her that. I feel like she knows that her husband is gay. I mean, he might be bisexual. I don't know. Shit, girl.
I mean, what do you call a man that gets bent over at 2:00 in the morning by strangers?
Gay.
Cheers, 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 cheers. Okay.
One day.
This is crazy, man. This is crazy.
Okay.
One moment.
So yeah, guys, that's what's been said about Britt Edie's husband. And the thing about it, a lot of people were very curious about him. Like a lot of people felt like he was on the DL, okay? And Kiwan said, the way I'm looking, and I believe every word because him and Britt look like friends. Yes, their relationship is definitely giving fraud. And every time somebody questions her about anything, her ring, her husband, like she gets all in her feelings. So that's the word on the curb. But, you know, in ATL, you got to be very careful. You just got to be careful. So, but this man is an ex friend of Britt Edie. So he claims that Britt Edie knows. So it looks like that these women are grabbing up these men just so that they can be on reality TV. And I don't understand, as small as Atlanta is, how they think that they can get away with putting these lies out there. And Sydney says his background is questionable. Yes, some people seem to think that he's her handler, whatever that means. So they obviously got something going on and it's going to come out, unfortunately. I mean, we're only on what, the 6, 7 episode, and Britt has already, come out to be a fraud in the insurance field. Her husband has come out to be on the down low. Like, girl, you just came on the show. Like, I think it's time to exit stage left while you still got any sort of reputation left. Yes, that part. That's what people are saying, Sydney, that he's that. That's what it's looking like, that he could potentially be her. And then, the gentleman was also talking about Britt Edie and her past. So there are a lot of people that know about Britt Edie's past. And at what point does she think that this show is just worth her reputation being exposed? And then she out here making everybody mad. Your business is fixing to be out here for the entire world to see. Okay. So things aren't looking good for Britt Edie. In this last episode, she played it really cool because I don't think she wants any more enemies because she does not want her dirt to be exposed. Okay. These learned today just snapping up any man coming on these reality TV shows trying to get a bag. Like, it's not a good look. Just tell your truth. So I want to hear how she's going to respond to these accusations, because every week is something. Like, how is she going to respond to this? And Sydney says, I saw that comment that Britt came for this gentleman. I told my friend, this will get messy soon. This was 2 weeks ago. So, Sydney, enlighten us because he did mention the comment. I personally did not see the comment. What was said in the comment and what was the initial post about when she made the comment? That's what I want to know because she should have sat this one out because now she don't wrote a check her ass can't cash. And now her and her husband is getting ready to be exposed. Because from the way this gentleman talked about Britt, it's like she is exactly what people think she is. And it was so funny when Drew called her out because obviously that's the word on the curb. Okay, it came across IG, but you don't remember exactly what was said. Okay, okay. So I'm just really waiting on some feedback from Drew not Drew, I'm sorry, from Britt to see how she's going to respond to this. And I think that her husband, if that's even her husband, because now at this point, everything is questionable. That ring is questionable. Everything is questionable. And Kiwan said, Britt probably want her husband to be exposed because it takes the heat off of her. You think so? That is not a good look. That's not a good look for her, and that's not a good look for Quad when everybody in the Atlanta streets are saying that they're men like men. So I just wouldn't want that on me. I'm sorry. And the way that this man says that they get down at these parties, like, oh no, baby. Mm-mm-mm. No. I don't think that's what she wants, to be honest. Unless she's just ready to be done with this man, and by him being exposed, that's her out. That's the only thing I can see. Because again, it is said that there are a lot of PIMPs in Atlanta. Okay. So, and unless, you know, and that's another thing. Why does she have to carry a pow pow? Like, it's giving that you're in places that you shouldn't be, because if you're around a certain type of people, then it shouldn't be necessary for you to always have to carry a pow pow. So that's kind of questionable to me as well. And Keyone said, my ideas are very outlandish at times. No, you could definitely be onto something. Like we don't know what's getting ready to play out, but I just know it's not going to be good. And Jazzy said, I saw that Carlton character in one of the clips talking to Lawrence. Oh, I missed that. I didn't see him there. Okay. That's interesting. So that's my whole point. Atlanta is small. So if he's hanging around with Kenya, so Kenya probably knows that, Quad's man is on the DL as well. So everybody knows everybody, and there's going to be some people getting exposed. And Kiwan said, Britt seemed like a person who operates in survival mode. She does. It seems like she's had a very tough life. And exactly, she seems like she does, operates in survival mode. Hey, TNTG Mom, thank you so much for being here, sis. Hey, CNC, thank you so much for being here, CC. And guys, I'm going to have to end on that note. And if you did not like the video on the way in, please like the video on the way out. And if you happen to be catching the replay, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and drop down in the comments so that we can keep this conversation going, because sometimes it goes down in the comments and you can, find out a lot of information in the comments as well. So thank you guys for watching, and bye for now.